Tonight, turbocharging the mining industry. The Broken Hill Cobalt Project awarded funding for environmental studies. And SAPOL put gel blaster owners on blast, cracking down on the imitation firearms.
From our 7 Spencer Golf Studios, your nightly news with Madeline Kerr begins now.
Good evening, thanks for joining us. The New South Wales government is looking to the future, investing millions of dollars to become a major supplier and processor of critical minerals and high-tech metals. The funding means more highly skilled jobs will be up for grabs in regional areas like Broken Hill.
The Minister for the Regions in the regions. Deputy Premier Paul Toole was in Cobar today, pleading his case to make the West the #1 investment destination for critical minerals mining and advanced manufacturing. The state government looking to the future of the mining industry, launching a new fund worth $130 million.
Well, very exciting because we've launched our critical minerals and high-tech metals strategy here in New South Wales, and I want New South Wales to be the #1 state when it comes to investment in critical minerals and high-tech metals.
Over 19 organisations will share in more than $8 million of funding. Cobalt Blue Holdings will receive funding for environmental studies, as well as $500,000 for a mine reuse project.
Well, it's exciting to be able to announce the first round of our funding for critical minerals and high-tech metals strategy here in the state. Now, we're seeing around $8.6 million being invested across New South Wales.
It's hoped that by investing in these projects means that our part of the world will be a major global supplier of these minerals and metals.
Now, these critical minerals are going to ensure that we're investing in aerospace, in defence, going towards medical supplies, electronic vehicles. All of these are going to be industries of the future.
Joshua Mercer, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Whyalla was rocked by a series of crimes over the weekend, with police now calling on anyone to come forward if they have information that may help solve the recent break-ins. In the early hours of Friday morning, police will allege a vehicle's window was smashed on Moran Street in Whyalla, where a camera was stolen but later recovered. Later that night, a house on Julie Franco Place was broken into, where the keys to an occupant's car were stolen. That same night, there was an attempted break-in at a house in Luthwaite Street, the offender damaging the rear door, and a mountain bike was taken. The crimes continued on through Saturday, with 2 motorcycles stolen from a carport at Mara Vista Crescent and properties stolen from a car on Crookshank Avenue. Anyone with information about any of these offences is encouraged to contact Crime Stoppers. SAPOL is putting gel blaster owners on blast, urging them to get the proper registrations or hand them over. The warning comes after yet another Spencer Golf local was found with not 1, but 2 inside their home.
2 years on and people are still not getting the message. Under regulations introduced in October 2020, recreational gel blasters were reclassified as regulated imitation firearms, requiring owners to apply for a licence. But over the weekend, yet another unlicensed Spencer Golf local, a 23-year-old Whyalla man, has been reported for firearm offences in relation to gel blasters. On Sunday, police searched the man's Whyalla Stewart home and allegedly located a cache of 2 blasters. The occupant was reported for possessing a firearm without a licence and will be summoned to appear in court at a later date. With similar devices seized in Port Pirie within the past year, there is fresh concerns that these ultra-realistic toys are still being used in the Spencer Golf and could be mistaken for real weapons.
Gel blasters are defined as firearms within the Firearms Act because they compress air to fire a projectile and they can cause injuries. But also concern is that they look like firearms. This is a gel blaster. This is a SAPOL issue firearm. Now you tell me, what's the difference?
In response to this weekend's discovery, SAPOL is reminding residents to obtain authorisation or surrender their blasters immediately. Offenders could face a fine of up to $10,000 or a 2-year jail term if caught with an unregistered gel blaster. Edwin McCarroll, 7 Spencer Golf News.
The cleanup continues in the Spencer Gulf following the recent storms. Last week, a large pine tree at Woodward Park in Port Pirie was ripped from the ground and fell onto the toilet block. Residents were intrigued by the sight of the roots ripped from the ground, but were advised to stay away from the area. The tree and roots have now been removed and the toilet block roof has been repaired and is now accessible once again. The centre of Corn will be looking very different within a matter of weeks as the new town square continues to take shape. Flinders Ranges Council says the new arts precinct will host events and new businesses as the town's commercial sector booms.
Corn is set for a major expansion as construction of the new town square sees giant cranes and renovations echo across town. The $500,000 arts precinct redevelopment behind the council chambers and the historic town hall.
It's hopefully going to be a town square, a public space where people can get together, we can celebrate Christmas, we can celebrate those sort of things, have some live music. We've got a stage going in and we've got funding for live music events.
We'll be encouraging arts and culture to be to be showcased within there and for all community organisations to be able to use that. So we're looking very much for the future to make sure that they can be very well utilised.
The council also purchased the neighbouring Buckaringa building to expand Corn's commercial sector.
Given the size of the building, we expect we could have up to 2 or 3 businesses take occupancy. And I've already been approached. I walk down the street and I've already got about 10 different people approach me with new ideas of what to start there. And a lot of people are quite excited about taking up that space.
The precinct is due to open by the end of the year and will be one of Ken Anderson's first major duties as Mayor of Flinders Ranges Council.
I'll be fortunate enough to open previous council's good work, really.
Daniel Pizarro, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Still to come tonight, Whyala's new mayor dons the civic regalia for the first time as the new councillors are officially sworn in. And Eyre Peninsula farmers split federal funding to increase biodiversity. Welcome back. Another South Australian jetty is receiving a makeover. Edithburgh Jetty has been added to the list of the ones to upgrade with work to be done on fixing the steps. The jetty is a popular haunt for swimmers, snorkelers and divers, so the upgrades will not go unnoticed. Council is looking at concept designs for new dive access steps that have platforms at different heights, so people can easily and safely enter the water, regardless of how high the tide is. Whyala's new council members have officially been sworn in and taken their seats in the chambers. They say they're looking forward to ensuring the city fully capitalises on the exciting opportunities over the next 4 years.
Last night, Phil Stone was sworn in as Whyala's 10th mayor at a special ceremony. The 8 other elected members were also officially appointed to the council, with the final member to be sworn in the following days due to illness.
I never expected this in my life. I thank the community for putting the faith and trust in me to lead council for the next 4 years. We've got a fantastic elected body that's now been sworn in and the job starts tomorrow.
As well as Mayor Stone, returning from the previous council are Bill Simpson, Zia Westerman, David Knox and Tammy Pond.
I feel extremely honoured. It's a huge step up to really come and sit at this table for the community. You have to be very passionate to put your hand up to do it, but I feel very honoured that the community have entrusted me with this position.
The new councillors on the block are Mark Inglis, Peter Klobuchar, Sharon Todd, Catherine Campbell and Peter Border.
Looking forward to working together as a team and having some robust discussion around the issues that we need to address over the next 4 years.
Stone says the mix of new and returning councillors ensures a level of stability, while also allowing new ideas and priorities to be pushed to the forefront of the council.
We will now move forward the big picture, but also the very important day-to-day things that the residents want to see happening. Looking forward to it. It's going to be a fantastic 4 years.
Edwin McCarroll, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Eyre Peninsula farmers will receive funding to undergo a pilot vegetation program aimed at increasing biodiversity. The program is run by the Australian Government, with the Eyre Peninsula Landscape Board facilitating operations.
A vegetation program set to enrich an iconic part of the state. Close to 20 farmers on the Eyre Peninsula will take place in the pilot, receiving a share of $1.2 million to increase vegetation on their properties.
Yeah, so the Australian Government started a project probably this time last year called Enhancement Remnant Vegetation. There's 6 pilot regions around Australia, and Eyre Peninsula was lucky to be chosen as one of them, and the only one in South Australia.
The Eyre Peninsula Landscape Board will work alongside farmers, assisting them with revegetation works catered to each farm.
And while the landholders will do similar things like pest and weed control and keeping stock out of areas and managing overabundant herbivores, they all be slightly different on what they need. Some might need fencing, some might need revegetation. So yeah, the landholders got to choose.
Landowner Dominic DeLeo is hopeful he can deliver better outcomes for the biodiversity and conservation of his property, a project that looks to continue in the future.
Yeah, so I guess the Australian Government want feedback from us and from all these landholders involved, so it'll be up to them to see how it's gone. So these landholders will do works over the next 10 years, but I guess we're sort of thinking so far it's been pretty successful.
The board grateful to those farmers willing to give it a go.
Appreciative that the landholders have got on board and taken up with this pilot. It's something new. The landholders had to fill in a bit of paperwork, so for those 20 the people that have got involved, we appreciate their effort.
Henry Millick, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us. After the break, Port Augusta-born Connor Rosie gears up for the 2023 AFL season. And back by popular demand, author Jeanette Thompson to host another workshop in the Far West. Welcome back. AFL Preseason is officially underway, with our very own local stars getting back into training in Adelaide. Meantime, with the draft to take place in under a week's time, there's a chance even more homegrown heroes will be picked from the bunch.
As Port Adelaide's pre-season kicked off, Port Augusta's Connor Rosie was centre stage in his 5th year at the club.
We've got a long way to improve, and we've got such a good young group that are driving each other to get better. You can see that out there today. Everyone's come back really fit and ready to go, so I'm just excited to get back into next year and hopefully take my game to another level. That's the plan every year.
The 22-year-old is eyeing a shift to the midfield and bulking up ahead of next year.
It's just getting to a weight where I feel comfortable enough about standing anyone in the competition and not getting outbodied. So there's no specific weight that I've been set to get to, but yeah, I guess I've struggled in the past trying to put on weight, which is probably a good thing when I finish footy. But yeah, at the moment, just trying to put on a bit of size.
Over at the Crows, Broken Hill's Taylor Tex Walker rocked up with most of the boys, earning brownie points from coach Darren Burgess.
We had expectations of 12 coming back, and we had basically everyone other than Rory Laird back today. So yeah, they all look good, they all look fit.
And we're less than a week away from the AFL draft, and South Augusta's Isaac Keller, who's currently playing for North Adelaide, has been named as one of the state's top prospects. The 18-year-old is an open draft choice, meaning due to Next Generation Academy rules, he won't be accessible until after draft pick number 40. Daniel Pizarro, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Following on from the History Alive project earlier this year, the Broken Hill City Library will be hosting another oral history workshop soon. This time, another city in the Far West will be the focus, as Joshua Mercer explains.
Silverton, it's your turn to have your history recorded as the second oral history workshop gets underway this Thursday. Kicking off at 10 a.m, the workshop will go through how oral histories can be mapped and used to create an audio walk across our streets and landscapes. The workshop will be hosted by author Jeanette Thompson. Ms. Thompson, who also has a background in radio, is no stranger to hosting these workshops. The Broken Hill native hosted the last one in June and attended the National Oral History Conference in Launceston earlier this year. These new recordings, aptly named the Silverton Project, will record interviews with local residents who have memories and stories to tell about Silverton, and also some about Broken Hill as well. Not only is the workshop for those who enjoy listening to and recording the stories of the past, but also volunteers who would like to be interviewed for the Oral History Project. Once finished, the recordings will be held in the Regional Outback Archives collection. You don't need to bring much for the workshop, just yourself and some curiosity. For more information on how to take part in the workshop, head to the Broken Hill City Library website.
Thanks, Josh. Well, tomorrow night is the launch of the Youth Art Exhibition in Port Pirie. The show is an opportunity for the public to celebrate all the talented young artists in the city and to catch a glimpse of what the Year 11 and 12 art and design students have been working on throughout the year. The exhibition will run daily until December 11. Stay with us after the break. Week 3 Movember check-in with our reporters Henry, Eddie and Daniel. And warm days ahead. We'll have the weather details with Alex Sykes. Welcome back. Despite a cold and wet start to spring, sport is still marching ahead across the Spencer Gulf. Our reporter Henry Millick has all the action from the past week.
Well, that's right, Maddie. It was another epic weekend of sport across the Spencer Gulf, and it all started here on Friday night with Port Lincoln tennis. The first match saw Sports Power Superstore tally 12 sets in 87 games, defeating Bendigo Bank 4 sets to 59 games. On the other court, Yamba Aquaculture were hitting the ball too strongly for Port Lincoln Dental, beating them 11 sets to just 4. Moving over to the Port Lincoln's Monday Night Netball summer competition. The first match saw Back That Pass Up defeat Golden Girls 33-14. Maybe Blanche isn't moving like she used to these days. On court 4, things were much more competitive. Storms of Brewing proved to be too good for the Lincoln ladies, with the final score reading 34-25. Why Not beat Fully Puffed in a close one, 30 goals to 28. In the Silver City, it was the first round of finals for the women's summer competition. Jesters had the easy run over United, with the team forfeiting the match in the quarter-final. In the elimination final, West Flames Black held off the Divas by 10 goals to progress to the next round. Looking at Port Pirie's softball now. And it was the Tigers who checkmated the checkmates after finding some form with a bat. Casey Baldock a standout, leading her side to the win. In the other match, it was the battle of the felines, with the Cougars defeating the Solly Cats 15-8. A comeback from behind win for the Cougars, bringing in 12 runs at the bottom of the third innings. And lastly, the Whyalla Hockey Association held another exciting round of matches. In the Division 1, Round 4 saw the Cavaliers continue their good form, beating the Wolfpack in a close one by a singular goal. In the other match, the Bush Pigs also walked away with a narrow win over my favourite team, God's Country. In the Division 2 matches, Hackers beat the Seven Deadly Sins 5 goals to 3, while Smack My Pitch Up beat the Bees by 1 goal. The Bush Chooks and Gold Diggers also walked away with wins. That concludes another week of sport on the Spencer Gulf. We'll be back next week to keep you up to date as the season progresses.
Wow, you sure did have fun with that one, Henry. Thank you. Time now to take a look at what's happening in the weather with Alex Sykes. Alex, Woodner had its coldest morning so far this month.
It was a chilly 5 degrees there this morning, Maddie. The feels like was as low as 3.7. It wasn't all bad though, Woodner warming up to 21.3 degrees at 4:30 p.m. Elsewhere, an unusually cold day in Cooper Pedy, reaching just 22 degrees this afternoon. Still a fair bit cooler than the average November temp of 29. 15 in Clare today. Kadina reached 19 degrees at 3 p.m. Looking more broadly at today's weather map now. 21 the top in Port Augusta and Broken Hill, 19 in Port Pirie. Port Lincoln reached 18 degrees, just 17 in the capital. Taking a look at the satellite image now, winds will shift northerly and become warmer as a high pressure system moves over Victoria on Thursday and Friday, ahead of another cooler southwesterly change at the weekend. On the Gulf waters, tomorrow southwesterly winds 10 to 15 knots, turning south to southeasterly below 10 knots, seas below a metre, and south to southwesterly swell around a metre, increasing to 2 metres. Cloudy conditions around the Eyre Peninsula tomorrow, 20 degrees in Port Lincoln, 22 in Cleve, a bit warmer in Woodner, 25 degrees with some sun as well. Cloud clearing around Whyalla on Wednesday, a top of 22 degrees, mostly sunny, and 26 degrees in Port Augusta. 21 in Kadina, down to 10 overnight. Cloud clearing around Port Pirie tomorrow, set to reach a high of 24 degrees there. Clare cloudy and 19, Broken Hill sunny and 25 degrees. Taking a look further through the week now, warm on Thursday, especially north of Woodner, where it'll be sunny and 33 degrees, 32 in Port Augusta, 29 in Port Pirie. Turning to Friday's forecast now, and I imagine there'll be a few people calling in sick around the Gulf to go to the beach for a swim. Sunny conditions across the board between 30 and 38 degrees. But the rain returns on Saturday, possible showers right across the region, except for Broken Hill, 24 the low in Port Lincoln, 33 the warmest in Broken Hill and Cooper Pedy. And that's all the weather from me for tonight. I'll see you soon with an update. It's back to you, Maddie.
Thanks for that, Alex. But just before we go, let's take a look at how our reporters' Movember efforts are coming along. This is the week 3 check-in with Henry, Eddie and Daniel. Their mows are looking pretty solid now. For a bit of background, Movember is a charity event raising money for men's health issues. If you would like to donate to our reporters, head to our Facebook page and look for the pinned post about Movember. We'll check in next Tuesday with week 4's progress. And that's all the local news this Tuesday. I'm Madeline Kerr. From all of us here, thanks for joining us. I'll have updates a little later, but until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.